Alright guys, so how's it going today? So we'll do a little, I guess just a little video, because I'm heading home from the farm now. So, picked up a little bit of hay and found some, quarter of another bale that got pushed off. I don't know if the cows liked it or not, but I picked it back up and threw it back in the hay ring. It smelled okay, so I don't know. If hay smells good to you, I think the cows will like it too. So it looked alright. It didn't look moldy or anything. So I picked it up and threw it back in the ring. Cows are doing alright. They're getting a little bit chubbier, which is a good thing. It's windy. Another windy day again. It's calmed down a little bit now since it's getting to be later in the day, but son of a bitch. So, yeah, a little update on the GMRS radios. I did do a range test on them a couple days ago. Because we went to go get some hay. Still got to make a third trip yet. Waiting for him to call back. Apparently he would call back, or he would call my grandma Monday, which would be tomorrow for you guys. It's Sunday today. So, yeah, he's busy calving. So we have to kind of work around his schedule, which is, I figured that, because calving season. So, and he said that he was having some trouble with some calves. I guess they weren't sucking or something. They weren't doing something right. So, pretty much has to babysit them all the time. But yeah, so, like I said, we did a range test on these things. Now, I was testing these radios under the worst conditions you possibly could test them under. I tested it. Well, I know that they work from the farm to the house. That little bit's perfectly fine. The sun's probably bothering you guys now. But it gets past the truck stop. I know that. Works even better, of course, if you're on top of a hill. And then we got about halfway to the young guy's place. Well, no, we got up to the first overpass that we take to go to his place. Did a range test there. We were kind of on top of a hill a little bit. Can't remember. I think it worked a little bit, but the range was a little crappy, or maybe it didn't work quite at all. But then we got about halfway, and I think I tried again, but I didn't get a response. So I figured, okay, well, that's at least that's got to be at least 3-4 miles that we've already gone. So we would probably be a little bit out of range for these things. But the kicker is, when I hollered at her, at mother, I didn't get a response, right? Well, about a minute later, I got her. She squawked on the radio there, and so yeah, that would have been at least probably 4 miles, at least 5, maybe 4 to 5 miles. But after 3 miles, it definitely started having issues. Not quite 3 miles, but you have to remember, I was talking under the worst conditions possible. So, which is trees, buildings, talking through glass, because we were in the pickup. So, we were trying to pierce glass as well. So I feel like you could probably get about 4 miles if you really got on top of a hill, the highest hill you could find around that area, and stood on top of the pickup. I think you could get at least 4 miles out of these GMRS radios, and that's not bad. Not quite. I mean, it's better than what it was, but if I'm struggling at 4 miles or 3 miles, you might as well say 3 miles, because that's when we kind of start. It starts iffing, you know. You kind of wonder if it's going to work or not. But then I kind of think that if you used those micro mobiles, I think you could get out. I don't know what the true mileage would be, you know, if you did do that. But yeah, these GMRS radios, they're all right. They're pretty good, I think. They're not going to be as good as a mobile rig, but for what I need them for, it's fine. It's perfect. So, and then I get the weather band. I can't figure it out, but these are only 2-watt radios, or 2.5. I don't know what that would be under the weather channel or the weather bands. I don't know what the watt would be there. I guess I don't know if there is a watt or not, but maybe there isn't. But with this radio, I pick up more weather bands with this than I ever did with the CB radio that's in the 1586. It doesn't matter if that, because that's the same radio that was on Big Red. And no matter what, I had a hard time picking up weather bands. The only one I ever could truly pick up was the one here in Canada, and that was it. Because it's only, you know, over there. So, but all the other weather bands, the ones that are somewhat close to home, are yeah, they're CB. You couldn't pick them up, but these little walkie-talkies here can. So, surprisingly, that's good. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm sticking with GMRS. I think that, because I got a feeling that if I went over to mobiles, micro mobiles, and all the vehicles, I think we could get easily 10 miles. Maybe, I don't know. It would be about, a CB could do about 10 miles, but I don't know. I think we could get, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't know the facts on that until I got a mobile radio. And I'd rather just stick with the 40 watts. The one problem with the 40 watt Midland radios is that they don't have weather band, which is stupid because they're 15 watts too. The 15 watt and I think the 5 watt both had weather bands, but for some reason they couldn't do it in the 40 watt. So I don't know, can't figure it out. So I don't know why Midland's doing that, but that's what they're doing. So maybe, just maybe, they'll just redesign their radios. I guess I could find another radio. I imagine there's another company out there besides Midland that makes a 40 watt radio with weather band, because weather band kind of can be important to have. But you know, if you can't get it in the 40 watt radios, that's kind of disappointing. But for Midland anyway, I don't know about anybody else, but yeah. But the handhelds do all right though for picking up weather band, which is surprising. Not what I was really expecting, but of course, I mean, the lower you have the radio, the worse that the connection will be. You know, the signal will be weaker. So the higher you have it, the better it'll do. But I think another thing it kind of depends on too. It depends on the weather. Like right now, I probably could pick up weather bands okay, even though it's kind of cloudy out. But It's, I don't know. So, but yeah, overall, I think these radios are, they're pretty good. I like them. So, but yeah, I know, I'm not going to get the true, I mean, I would never get 36 miles out of these things, obviously. That would be, if I could get 36 miles out of them, if I was standing on top of a skyscraper, and somebody else was standing on their skyscraper, you know, then you probably could get 36 miles fine. But you're always going to have some, you know, I mean, at ground level, you're always going to have crap in the way. Unless you're out in the desert. They say out in the desert where it's flat. They say if you have flat terrain, you're okay, but I don't know. Like, you're still not going to get 36 miles, but you could probably get about 5 to 10. I guess if you, yeah, if it was flat terrain, but we don't have much, I mean, we got a little bit of that here, but we just got so much freaking trees and shit in the way that, you know, you would never get 36 miles, but I damn well get about 3 miles, I think, out of them. And that's better than what even the other handhelds only went about a mile. And then after that, it just started becoming static. So, yeah, I think about 3 miles is about as good you're going to get under the type of conditions that we were in while doing those tests. So, and like I said, the worst conditions were trees, some buildings, and then trying to punch through glass. Oh yeah, and then the other one is, you know, mother's in the house, so you have resistance in the house. You got the wood blocking everything, slowing it down, making it weaker. So like I said, we were under the worst conditions possible. Now, I bet you if mother stood outside, not that she's going to, because if we got windy days like this, she ain't going to want to be out, but I think if she stood outside on the highest part of the yard, which would be in the back there, and then we went up to the overpass where we turned to go down to his place, and I stood on top of the pickup, or at least rolled the window down or something. Probably could get maybe 4.5 miles. You know, you could probably get a little more. It just, I mean, you would have to, you know, kind of just, it depends on things, but just under the worst conditions possible, about 3 miles is what we got out of these things. And that's in the high power setting. It's not under, I know what it would do under the FRS channels, so I don't even need to test it under those conditions, because if you went to FRS channels, you'd be down to about 1 watt, or maybe even half a watt. I don't really know. But for 2 watts or 2.5 watts, whatever these GMRS radios are supposed to do, 3 miles is decent for handhelds. But I feel like we could get more out of them if we actually had a radio in the truck. Now I know that they make 5 watt radios, the mobile ones, but they would be 1 watt more powerful than a CB, and there's really no sense, you know, because you'd probably be doing about the same, you know, it'd be the same as the CB, so why even bother? I mean, if you're going to be doing close range talking, like vehicle to vehicle, or you know, you're going to maybe a mile or 2 apart, a 5 watt radio is fine. But I'm looking where I can get coverage for at least as far as the young guy's farm, you know. And if I can't quite get there, that's not really a big deal. But I mean, I think with at least a 15 watt or even the 40 watt radio, I think we would pierce that fine. I know that if we put one in the house, I think the house radio would probably go, you know, 45 miles, because the max is 60 or 65 with the 40 watt radios. That's as far as we'll ever go in perfect conditions. Well, technically we kind of would be in perfect conditions because the antenna would be so high up that it doesn't have quite so much crap to pierce through. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that, you know, if we put because I want to do that too, but I could get away with a 15 watt in the house, you know, because of if I wanted more weather band, but I mean, I got plenty of radios already that are picking up weather bands. The CB in the house picks up those weather bands. This radio here picks up those weather bands, and then I have a weather radio, a Midland weather radio, and that probably goes. I don't know what the range is on that antenna. It's not as high as a CB antenna, but it does a lot better than the antenna that's on the radio. That's why I did that. So I don't really need another weather radio. You know, I mean, it's good. I guess good for backup, but the CB will be my backup. You know, and then I got these handhelds here now, so I don't. You know, so that's why I'm just thinking just to go straight to the 40 watt and be done with it. Just get maximum range and be done with it. But yeah, I mean, right now I have the weather scan on this radio. I disabled it on Mother's because I know she wouldn't want it going off, you know, when she has custody of it. So, but what it's doing right now is that it's scanning pretty much all the weather channels for severe alerts, for, you know, any kind of alert, you know, tornado warning, high wind warning, you know, those just warnings. That's what it's scanning for. We don't have any warnings right now, but we're getting closer to summer, so we know it's going to happen eventually. And we had a good rain shower come through here a day or two ago. Not that we really needed it, but yeah, whatever. So, and then another thing too is that I was right. There are other people using these radios. And then there's also some people using FRS radios. That's what I love about these radios, is that I can scan both frequencies, GMRS and FRS, just push up a button. Now it takes a while. The one thing I don't like about this radio is that the scanning is kind of slow. I think they could have sped that up a little quicker, because it takes a long time to go through 50 fucking channels. And I mean, it ain't slow, but it's a little bit slower than what my CB does. But I think they could have sped it up a little bit more. But whatever, it is what it is. But anyways, I had it in the channel that I'm using right now. Didn't realize it was being used by another person, because I went to the farm, went on top of the dike to check the river out, and I heard somebody talking on the same channel that I'm using. They were talking about they were wanting to know if they should move a generator or something. So I don't know what that was about. So I'm not sure who around here. I'm guessing to somebody on the North Dakota side, probably in that town over there. I imagine they use GMRS radios. And then, yeah, and then channel 10, I think channel 10. That's an FRS channel. Somebody was talking on that. It sounded like kids or a girl or something. But they were having a hard time hearing the other person too. Well, that's why I switched over to GMRS to get a little more power out of these sons of bitches. But FRS are free to use. But so are CBs. So I don't know why people are just not using CBs, because you could get a little more range out of a CB than you would a handheld FRS radio. So CBs are 4 watt. FRS are only half a watt to a watt, you know, for handhelds. And then GMRS are 2 watts, 2 or 2.5. I think it's more or less 2 watts though, but yeah, it's actually a pretty good radio. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a handy radio. I'm happy with them, and they are lighter, and You know, the battery seems to last a long time on these things. I have been kind of putting it on the charger every now and then, just to kind of keep the battery topped off. But, I mean, I guess it is what it is. And then, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just going to be kind of an interesting thing to do. Because I like GMRS. They are actually, they're a little bit better of a radio. You know, it's just, there's more power. I think one time I even seen a GMRS radio made by a different company. But I think that was 50 or 60 watts. But I can't remember exactly. But I don't know what the limit is for just strictly GMRS. I don't know if it's just 40 watts. That's as far as anybody can go with them, or what. Because ham radios are pretty much unlimited. You can do any number of watt. You know, I mean, their watts are pretty high. So, but like FRS, they're limited to like 1 watt. GMRS, as far as I'm aware of, I thought they were only limited to 40 watts, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure I've seen one that was 60 watts, but that could have been something else. But or I could have just been seeing things too, right? I don't know. But I don't know. 40 watts should be more than enough. I'm not expecting to get down to the cities. I mean, the cities are only an hour away, but I don't think I would get that even with a 40 watt radio in the house. I don't know, unless the antenna was put a lot higher up than it is now. But I don't know. I feel like it. I mean, 25. Like if a 40 watt radio went at least 25 miles. Of course, now I mean that's just talking to the base unit. That's not. I mean, the mobiles would be a little less because they're in a moving vehicle and they're a lot lower to the ground. But I think if the base unit could go at least 25 miles, I think we would be pretty much covered for going to, like, to where my bank is at. Because if mother's home for some reason and she has a health problem, even though we should be the last thing on her mind, she should be calling 911 at that point. But you know, even if I can't transmit back to her, there's probably a good chance that at least she'd be able to transmit to me, and then I'd be able to hear what she's saying. And if there's some kind of emergency, pull the e-brake, go back home, you know. So as long as we get some coverage, I'm alright with it. I mean, it'll never be like ham radios, but I'm never going to get my ham radio license because those are just pretty much impossible to get for a guy like me. Because one, I hate reading. I'm not a big fan of reading. And two, you have to study and read so many books and stuff, and then you got to take like an actual test. You got to actually talk on a radio and use your call sign and stuff like that. You know, it's just a lot of work. The reading is the worst part of it. So, and something else I kind of didn't really realize about GMRS is that when you do buy a license, because you need a license to use these things as well, it's much easier to get, so it won't be a problem to get it. But when you actually buy a license, you actually get a call sign as well. I thought that was only a ham radio thing, but I guess it's for GMRS too, because it says that in the book. So, well, I can tell you one thing: nobody's going to be using their call sign because it's just ridiculous. Nobody's going to do that, you know. So I don't really know what the point of it is, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. Like I said, these radios ain't really meant for like, these are not business radios where we're talking on them all day long kind of thing. It's just more or less for it's definitely just more or less for emergencies, you know, because cell phones usually never work. And of course, if we do need to talk a little bit, we can, you know. It's just not that we do a lot of talking, you know. So, but a lot of people always just say, use your cell phone, it's easier. Not really, because talking on a radio is faster than sending a text. It's faster than making a phone call. You know, so radios are better than phones. Range-wise, yeah, radios are limited, whereas cell phones are not limited. I mean, I could send a text to Germany or something, you know, and they'd get it because it's going through satellites. So, whereas GMRS radios or any kind of radio, they're not going through satellites. They're just sending out their own signal. So, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. CBs are nice because you can talk to truckers, but because sometimes listening to them talk is hilarious because they fight on the interstate. If somebody gets cut off or whatever, you know, you can laugh about it because it's hilarious. So I don't know, but I think I'm still gonna probably keep the base CB though. Like I said, just to scan, listen to the truckers when they talk. You know, just to see, I guess get road reports or whatever, and then I guess just as a backup for picking up weather bands. So, but yeah, overall these radios are really good though. I am happy with them. The weather, I wasn't really expecting the weather bands to be picked up as good as they are. They're picking up fairly, even in the house, they're fairly well. It's enough that you can understand what they're saying. You still hear static, but it's better than what it was on Big Red. Whereas on Big Red, you didn't get nothing, which was kind of disappointing. I don't know what the hell was wrong with it. So there shouldn't be anything wrong with it. I was thinking maybe just the way the antenna was sitting on Big Red, but I moved it over to the 1586, you know, and that should be getting a perfect ground, and that should be working just fine. And even on top of the dike, I'm not getting much for weather bands. So the CBs are not exactly that good, so I don't know why they even bothered putting weather bands in it. But I guess if you're close to a tower, then you're fine. But I'm not close to. I'm only close to one tower, and that one's up in Canada, and that one's not going to really do me much good. So because I would have to convert their Celsius into Fahrenheit, you know, just to know what the temperatures are. I can do that on my phone because I got a thing under the calculator there that will let me do that, but I don't know. And of course, then they talk French too or whatever, but I guess there must be some French people that live in Canada. But I don't know. GMRS, I think, are just the way to go. I don't care what anybody says. And I know there's, well, that guy that I guess I was going to talk about, he was using a repeater, so he was able to get further range. But we don't have a damn repeater here. I don't know what people are thinking about not putting one here, because if we had a repeater tower, even within just a couple of miles, you know, that would be even better. Because then these things could probably go, you know, you could go probably beyond 36 miles, really. I guess it just depends on how far the tower would be willing to push it out, you know, or whatever. So, but I don't know. I'm not complaining about them. I'm keeping these radios. So they are, so far they're being pretty reliable. I haven't had any issues with them. I'm understanding their the settings a little bit better and whatnot. But I guess if there starts to be more people talking on these radios, which there's not much people right now, I've only heard a couple of people since I've had them. If it gets worse, which I doubt it will, I might have to punch in the privacy code. That I haven't figured out yet because I don't plan on doing that. Not until, you know, we start getting more traffic. But not everybody around here has a reason for radios. So, but they all just have smartphones. So, but yeah, overall, not complaining about them. They do the job. I like them, and I will be getting some mobiles probably this fall. Seeing how getting Big Red fixed goes, because right now he's priority. So, and yeah, the young guy stopped by a couple nights ago, and he said that the dealer or the people that the repair people don't even live in that building anymore. They actually live now on another highway. So apparently they moved their business to a completely different building now. So one of the days we might go through there and just see if we can try to find them, and then when I get the money saved up, I'll give them a call and see what happens. But I got to get my Trump money first, if I even get accepted for that. And Trump's delaying on that too now, so which is just fucking dandy. So, whatever. So anyway, guys, I guess I'm gonna take off. So I guess have a good day and stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Take her easy.